New tonight, an Amber Alert issued after what appeared to be a kidnapping has been canceled. A couple of witnesses thought they saw a man kidnapping a young girl along Selinsky Road in southeast Houston this morning, but after police shared surveillance video of the car and a composite sketch of the man, he came forward saying he was having an argument with his girlfriend, who is in her early 20s, and drove away with her. Police talked to the woman and confirmed she is okay.